Welcome to the weekly Neurology Deep Dive. Today we're taking a focused look at the ADHERE and ADHERE Plus clinical trials.
That's right. These trials investigated subcutaneous Efgartigimod PH20 for chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, CIDP.
And just a reminder for everyone listening, this deep dive is purely for educational purposes. It has no commercial goals, and it's really a summary.
Absolutely. For a complete understanding, you really do need to read the full research paper itself.
So CIDP, it's this autoimmune inflammatory condition causing weakness, sensory issues.
Exactly. And the current treatments, well, they can carry a pretty high burden for patients.
Which brings us to Efgartigimod. It's investigational, designed to lower those immunoglobulin G or IgG antibodies.
Right. The pathogenic Igs thought to be major players in CIDP. And the PH20 formulation here is key.
Why is that?
It allows for a rapid subcutaneous injection. We're talking typically 30 to 90 seconds, much quicker than infusions.
Okay. And the ADHERE trial itself, large, multicenter.
Yes, a randomized withdrawal design, double-blind, placebo-controlled, ADHERE Plus followed as an open-label extension.
So today our goal is really to unpack the design, the key findings, and importantly, the implications for neurologists like you treating CIDP daily, focusing on the data, the practical points.
Let's start with who was in the ADHERE trial. It was quite large, 322 adults with active CIDP.
And how is active CIDP defined for the study?
Good question. It meant they showed clinical deterioration when their prior treatment was withdrawn, basically proving they were dependent on immunoglobulin or corticosteroids.
Making it the largest CIDP trial so far.
Correct. Inclusion needed that active CIDP with deterioration or completing 48 weeks without worsening.
And exclusions.
They excluded pure sensory CIDP and anyone not meeting the standard EFN-SPNS 2010 diagnostic criteria.
Got it. What did the participants look like at baseline?
Average age was around 54, about 65% male. Time since diagnosis, maybe 4 or 5 years on average.
Pretty typical CIDP profile then.
Largely, yes. Roughly 83% had typical CIDP presentation, and about 61% had unstable active disease, which is important.
What about their treatments just before the trial?
In the 6 months prior, about 20% received corticosteroids, 51% were on IVIG or subcutaneous immunoglobulin, and maybe 29% were actually off treatment.
And their baseline severity.
The mean adjusted NCAT score, the NCAT, was about 4.6 at the start of the open-label Stage A.
Okay, let's talk about that study design, Stage A first.
Right, Stage A was open-label up to 12 weeks. Everyone got 1,000 milligram Efgartigimod PH20 SC weekly.
And the primary endpoint there.
Percentage of participants showing evidence of clinical improvement, or ECI, for 2 consecutive visits.
How was ECI defined?
Primarily a 1 point or more decrease in that NCAT score. There were some nuances for those not on treatment without NCAT change, looking at IRODS or grip strength improvements too.
Okay, then came Stage B.
Stage B was the double-blind part, up to 48 weeks. Responders from Stage A were randomized 1-to-1.
To Efgartigimod PH20 SC weekly
or placebo SC weekly. The primary endpoint here shifted.
To what?
Time to first NCAT deterioration, basically time to relapse, defined as a 1 point or more increase in a NCAT score from their Stage B baseline.
Right. Let's get into the efficacy outcomes from ADHERE. Stage A first, that clinical improvement.
The results were quite striking. 66.5% of all participants showed confirmed ECI.
So about 2/3.
Exactly. A sensitivity analysis put it closer to 70.4%. And importantly, the improvement was often rapid.
How rapid?
About 40%, or 39.8% to be precise, showed ECI by just week 4. So for you in clinic, that suggests a potential for pretty quick response in many patients.
That's definitely useful to know.
Yeah.
Did improvement vary based on prior treatment?
It did, and that's interesting too. In Stage A, roughly 78% of those previously on corticosteroids showed improvement.
Okay.
About 59% on prior IVIG or SCI, and around 72% of those who were off treatment improved.
Suggesting effectiveness across different backgrounds. Now, Stage B, the relapse prevention.
This was the key randomized comparison. A significant 61% reduction in the risk of relapse with Efgartigimod PH20 SC compared to placebo.
Wow, 61%. The hazard ratio.
Hazard ratio was 0.39, and the p-value highly significant, 0.000039.
And in terms of actual relapse numbers?
About 28% relapsed on Efgartigimod versus about 54% on placebo. a really substantial difference.
That could certainly impact long-term management. What about functional ability improvements in stage B?
Looking at best improvement from the start of stage A through stage B, around 81% on Efgartigimod showed at least a 1-point in CAT improvement.
And more significant improvement.
Yes, around 43% showed a 2-point or more improvement, 28% showed 3 points or more, and nearly 12% showed a 4-point or more improvement, highlighting potential for real functional gains.
Let's switch gears to safety and ADHERE. How did it look?
Generally, most treatment-emergent adverse events, TEAs, were mild or moderate.
What were the most common ones, say over 5%?
In stage H Efgartigimod, injection site erythema was highest at about 10%. CIDP itself was reported at about 5%.
CIDP as an adverse event.
Yes, likely reflecting underlying disease activity or perceived worsening. It was much lower in stage B, less than 1% for both groups. Headache was about 5% in stage A Efgartigimod.
And in stage B?
Upper respiratory tract infection was actually higher in the placebo group, around 10%. COVID-19 was noted in about 17% of the Efgartigimod group in stage B. Remember the trial timing?
Injection site reactions overall.
Around 19% in stage A Efgartigimod, 14% in stage B Efgartigimod, and lower, about 6% in stage B placebo, mostly mild.
Any concerns about serious adverse events?
The rates were pretty similar between groups, about 6.5% in stage A Efgartigimod, 5.4% in stage B Efgartigimod, and 5.5% in stage B placebo.
And how many stopped treatment due to side effects?
Discontinuations due to AEs were around 7% in stage A Efgartigimod, dropping to about 3% in stage B Efgartigimod, and less than 1% in stage B placebo, suggests reasonable tolerability long-term.
Okay, then there was the ADHERE Plus extension study.
Right, the open-label extension. Nearly everyone eligible rolled over 226 out of 228 patients.
What did ADHERE Plus show in terms of efficacy? Did the benefits hold up?
Yes, they did. Patients maintained those functional gains, the AN-CAT improvement seen in ADHERE, through at least week 24 of ADHERE Plus rate.
And relapse risk?
Efgartigimod PH20SC continued to show that reduction in relapse risk across the different prior treatment subgroups. Overall, that 66.5% confirmed clinical improvement figure held.
So, sustained benefit. And the safety profile in the longer term.
It remained consistent with ADHERE. Most TEAs were still mild or moderate. No new safety signals emerged with prolonged exposure.
Any specific infections noted more commonly in the extension?
Common things remained common. Urinary tract infections were reported in about 10%, and respiratory tract infections in roughly 33% over that longer period, consistent with known IG lowering effects.
Good. Just to recap the key measures used across both trials.
Primary endpoints focused on that evidence of clinical improvement, ECI, based on AN-CAT, and then the relapse rate and time to relapse in stage B.
On secondary measures.
We also looked at grip strength, the full AN-CAT score, the RDS for disability, MRC sum score for strength, and the fatigue severity scale. Standard measures in CIDP trials.
Plus safety tracking, of course, T's, SAEs, and IgG levels.
Exactly. Monitoring IgG reduction is part of the mechanism.
Okay, let's distill this down. What are the main conclusions and clinical implications for neurologists?
Well, I think the ADHERE and ADHERE Plus trials show quite clearly that Efgartigimod PH20SC can lead to rapid clinical improvement in CIDP patients.
And that seems to hold true regardless of prior therapy.
That's a key point, yes. Whether they're on steroids, IVIG, SCI, or nothing before. And importantly, it significantly cut the relapse risk. That 61% reduction versus placebo is a big number and helped maintain the response.
Plus, the tolerability seems acceptable.
Generally well tolerated, most AEs mild or moderate. The safety profile is pretty consistent with what's known about Efgartigimod from other indications.
And being the largest CIDP trial.
It has strong evidence supporting that central role for IgG autoantibodies in driving CIDP pathology.
From a practical standpoint, the weekly subcutaneous injection?
That offers a potentially much less burdensome treatment option for patients compared to frequent infusions. Convenience is a major factor in chronic disease management.
And we should mention the regulatory status.
Absolutely. The FDA approved Efgartigimod PH20 brand name Vyvgart Hytrulo in June 2024. It's the first neonatal FC receptor, or FcRn, blocker approved specifically for CIDP.
So, summing up, these trials give us valuable data on subcutaneous Efgartigimod PH20 for CIDP. Rapid improvement, sustained relapse reduction, subcutaneous delivery.
It really presents a new therapeutic avenue for us to consider, particularly for patients with active disease needing ongoing treatment. That data showing improvement across different prior treatments is very helpful for thinking about where it fits in your practice.
As always, we have to stress, check the full study publication for all the detailed criteria, the complete adverse event listings, everything.
Crucial. This deep dive is educational, a summary highlighting data relevant to clinical practice, but the paper has the full picture.
And naturally, ongoing research and real-world experience will continue to shape exactly how this therapy is best used in CIDP management.
Precisely.
Thank you for joining this weekly neurology deep dive. We hope this overview of ADHERE and ADHERE Plus has been useful and practical for you.
Hopefully it gives you some solid data points to consider.
Maybe think about how these findings might inform your approach to CIDP and perhaps what further questions this raises for treating your own patients.